So we know Francis Scott Key, which is the name of the bridge, is the writer of our Star Spangled Banner. It is kind of symbolic that, you know, they've been kneeling all this time.
They're gonna probably, I wouldn't put it past them to think or to say that when we start rebuilding the bridge, to rename it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the first to ask that CNN and everyone else stop showing the video. No one needs to see a possibility of their family member being severely injured or otherwise over and over and over again.
This is a cyber attack. And the reason why they do not want us to keep looking at it, because the more you look at that thing, the more intentional it looks. I mean,
here in Baltimore, as many of you know, this is where we live and work, Baltimore, Maryland. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed. There was a terrible accident Tuesday after a large container ship ran into it, leading 6 presumed deaths and millions of dollars in possible damage. So we're going to talk about this. Before we begin, I want to play this clip. This is clip 5, just giving some additional information of this terrible accident.
Unbelievable.
Wow. So that, happened around 1:30 a.m. here in Baltimore, Maryland. Shelly, what were your thoughts when you first heard this news story?
Actually, when I first heard it, I thought it was someone talking about a fiction book. And they kept saying a bridge, and then I'm thinking, what bridge are they talking about? What book is this? And then, you know, later on, a couple hours later, when my head was a little clearer, it was the Key Bridge. I'm like, what? You know, it was just unbelievable. The bridge was collapsed. I mean, like you said, an accident, a barge hit one of the support structures, and it literally collapsed. That bridge is literally about 20 minutes from where we are. You know, we can get to it. It's about 20 minutes from where we're sitting right now. And to just think that it's just no more.
Yeah.
well,
Crystal.
5 minutes from her.
I mean, can I add to that? So this really hits really close to home because this is the bridge that I took to work and back every day. And that morning, so as usual, I wake up, you know, I'm like half asleep. I check my phone and I see the video. That's the first thing that I see when I open the phone. I had to go into Google and Google it because I didn't believe it. I'm like, is this a fake? Like, what is this? Then I see it confirmed, and I'm telling my husband, I'm like, honey, Key Bridge is gone. Like, I'm about to take it. Like, I'm waking up, like, in an hour, I was going to be on it. It's gone. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, no, it's really gone. Like, the barge hit it, and so he ran out and like went to see it because from our neighborhood we could see the whole bridge and it's gone. I mean, it's the most surreal, one of the most surreal things in my life. Like, and honestly, like that really reminded me, like it crashing, it reminded 9/11 to me. Like, because we lived in New York and we could see the towers. So it was like the same thing. I'm so near it. It's so close. And just like that.
Yeah, I wanna play this next clip before I go to you, Crystal, because this is Mayor Brandon Scott here in Maryland talking about the incident. This is clip number 4. Take a look.
You tell me so far what you know about exactly what happened here to the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Well, listen, we have an unspeakable tragedy. We know that this vessel struck the bridge and the bridge collapsed. There were individuals working on the bridge at that time. There are cars in the water. Our fire department has confirmed that as they lead this ongoing search and rescue mission through sonar. That is where our focus is about those souls and people that we're trying to find and get out of this water. Those families, those individuals that were on that bridge, those folks that even on that vessel, even more, because no one should have to endure. And I'm going to be the first to ask that CNN and everyone else stop showing the video. No one needs to see a possibility of their family member being severely injured or otherwise over and over and over again, because it's just traumatizing our community.
Fair enough, Mayor.
traumatizing. It ain't
Wow.
I have
traumatizing.
to agree with him.
It's not
that's what I was gonna ask.
traumatizing.
I
They
have-
scared we gonna look too close.
No, I have to agree with him. I think the
Whatever.
callousness, it's got to go. Like today, for example, I was walking in my neighborhood, and so what's been happening is that people from all over are driving into our neighborhood because the news said the best views are from our neighborhood. So everyone is driving there. It's like a closed, it's like not a drive-through community. So everyone is now going there, and they're like, "Oh, hey, like, where's the best place to see the bridge?" And I'm like, "Well, like, there's the water over there." And okay, well, you have cute pups. Like,
Yeah.
you can't say something like terrible tragedy or something like the callousness. Like, that is.
I disagree with Mayor Scott with his take on not showing it for a couple of reasons. Number one, when there are other tragedies, as tragic as this is, when there are other tragedies, you don't hear him saying that.
I
The
know.
news focuses on the neighborhood where someone has been murdered or harmed. That's one thing. Number two, you mentioned 9/11. When 9/11 was again, as horrible as it was, no one asked them to stop showing the loops.
they have.
The loops were shown. I think we need to show this because number one, it's news, right? But our main focus, of course, and thank God for those first responders, right? That they went into action to cut off the ramps to the bridge because at night when people are driving, you wouldn't think that the Francis Scott Key Bridge is no more. There would have been more people falling into the water. But thank God for the first responders who are out there trying to recover the lost souls, the people there. I agree with that part. But I don't think Mayor Scott or anyone should ask the news to stop looping it. We don't loop it for anything else. We don't stop looping it for anything else. Again, I think this is as tragic as it is also historic. And I think we do need to show it. I don't know how much, but just to ask them CNN, he thinks he's
Well, we
got
gotta talk.
with CNN.
We do
right
have to
now.
talk. Let's talk about. I mean, we all have different perspectives,
Right,
and
yeah.
this has affected us differently. I haven't. I mean, I certainly don't drive over the Key Bridge every day.
Right.
I think none of us do,
Right.
except for Yana.
Except for Yana.
So,
but I
and she
don't.
does have a different perspective of how it affected her because she's something that she's, used and frequented every day if they're coming to her neighborhood. So it's probably going to affect people differently. But like you mentioned, it is historic. And I want to take a moment to play this next clip. This is clip 2 of President Biden talking about it. And then we'll go into it.
Speak briefly about the terrible incident and accident that happened in Baltimore this morning. At about 1:30, a container ship struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which I've been over many, many times commuting from the state of Delaware in our train or by car. Been in Baltimore Harbor many times. And the bridge collapsed, sending several people in vehicles into the water, into the river. And multiple U.S. Coast Guard units, which are stationed very nearby, thank God, were immediately deployed along with local emergency personnel.
All right. So, first of all, he's lying. I mean, to just blatantly lie about something as simple as this, why?
Talking about he used to take the train over to Delaware. Sorry.
He did used to ride the train when he
Maybe it was
senator.
Yeah, but not over the Key Bridge.
Not over the
Maybe
Key
that was
Bridge.
his son that died in the
Right.
war. I just think that okay, you guys, y'all know MAGA is gonna MAGA. Where is my MAGA crowd out there, y'all? Who is not buying that this is a tragedy? Who is not buying that this is somehow some accident? On Steve Bannon's War Room, he actually talked about it, and he had Lara Logan on there.
Lara Logan.
And we are not talking about the fact that this is going to impact us big time. This is one of the major ships. Major ports
Second
on the East
largest,
Coast.
I
Yeah, the
believe.
second largest in the
in the
United
yeah.
States. Like, this is a cyber attack. And the reason why they do not want us to keep looking at it, because the more you look at that thing, the more intentional it looks. I mean, serious, honest to God, like to see how that thing and it just so happened to go within the vein. And what I don't understand is the naivete of us to think that we can just attack other people or hurt, other pipelines. I'm not going to say just end up, and we can do all these things overseas and we're not vulnerable to something that happens like this. I mean, we have Johns Hopkins, we have the largest hospitals, all those supplies, all those medical supplies, all the fuel, all of those things. I believe that they are trying to hurt Americans, and we have to stop, acting like we're immune to it.
While I will lend some credence to the possibility that it could be
possibility.
I will lend credence to that. One of the I guess issues I have is that, number one, it wasn't even 10 hours before the conspiracy theories, I'm calling that for right now, but for the conspiracy, the people weren't even they were literally cold in their watery grave. So we didn't even give enough, time, let alone it's still, 2 days ago, right? That was my problem. Like, the conspiracy theories were abounding. That's number one. Number two, I did hear, I didn't read it yet, but I did hear that within the last month, there has been a barge accident or two in China, some seas around China, and another part of the world, not to mention the Houthis over in the Red Sea, blocking that out where the ships have to go around all of Africa instead of cutting through the Red Sea and the canals over there. So I will lend credence to the possibility that this could be a terrorist or cyber related. However, everything that I've read and so far points to it being an accident. And this is the third thing. One of the things with conspiracy theories is that, number one, when there's a lack of information, conspiracy theories will fill in those gaps. That's number one. Number two, because our government has lied to us so much, so frequently, the conspiracy theories are going to take over. We don't believe anymore that accidents can and do happen. Unfortunately, even barge accidents.
Yeah, but you guys, what are the odds? Come on, what are the odds that one of the largest cargo ships hits one of the largest bridges in the perfect spot that knocks it completely down? Not even, you guys.
You mentioned one factor in all of that. And I'm not saying the conspiracy theories that is no credence. One factor in that, everything that you just named, they're man-made. And man-made are men making things, not men as far as sex, but just men are not perfect. We don't make perfect things. We do have fallibility. So you're missing that part of the calculation.
I don't.
Not only that.
I live right there. And so it's actually pretty narrow path they have to go into to be exactly in the middle of that bridge. If they veer off a little bit, they will hit the bridge. So, and I can see, you can see in the video that the boat is struggling and it's veering off. So I'm not discounting that it could have been, something that affected the boat.
Exactly.
But I would not say that the people that were on the boat were like, ooh, we gotta.
No. They're not saying that. They're saying that the power went out and it was a cyber attack, meaning somebody took control of the boat. This is what they're saying, that the power went out. The boat was steered into. And all of that stuff is electrical. Now, I don't know. All I know is the math ain't math.
It drifted. It looked like it drifted.
If it was steered, it would have not lost power.
Exactly.
It would have been like the
No. What I'm saying is
it would have been like the 9/11 where they were actually flying the plane.
You can't steer it if there's no power. It's going to go into a neutral, your car.
Do you guys not understand how it's ran by? Like electric.
If there's no electricity, you can't steer it.
The electricity went off.
Exactly.
Then it came back on.
Then
it went off.
Power surges, just like you have when you're home.
So you're saying there's no electricity there. You can't steer it. I saw the lights come on.
That's not.
I saw them go off. I saw them come back on.
There was a shortage somewhere. So
a shortage means that there's electricity. Can we agree on that?
It means that.
So don't say that there's no electricity, that it can't be steered.
No, they're saying it went off and it came back on.
They're saying that there's no electricity, so how do you steer it? Yeah, there was electricity.
It came back on for a second. It's like when you're starting your car.
But hold on. We got to, you can't say two things at once.
Right.
So
what are the two things?
No, you're saying that they could have, they were steering it.
I'm not saying that. That's what my people are saying.
No. Okay. But you are saying what they're saying.
I'm saying what they're saying.
So, but we're saying that if people were steering it, then we would have not had this power outage twice. It's obvious it was in distress.
Exactly.
So, to me, I think I'm leaning towards it's an accident. However,
accidents happen.
Yes. However, I do see symbolism in what has happened.
Well, then I
because
think-
it's the Francis Scott Key Bridge,
Exactly.
which represents America and the founding of America. And it's also a bridge that is a connection that connects, different
One side to the other.
the North and the South, and the different groups in America. And when I saw it today, I was walking there, walking the dogs, and I see it, and it looks so symbolic what has happened to America. That we're disjointed, that there's a rift, and that is not easily fixable. This is gonna take forever, and I don't know how good the next bridge.
Well,
is.
let me say
We
this
should
here.
all listen to our mayor and stop watching it.
Well,
Stop watching it. You might find out something.
Well, I want to speak to what you said about the historic part of it, because one thing I haven't heard talked about is that. So we know Francis Scott Key, which is the name of the bridge, is the writer of our Star Spangled Banner. And so I'm waiting for leftists to, these Joe Biden Democrats, demo Marxists is what I've been calling them, have been kneeling for the last several years, have been not paying homage to our nation's Star Spangled Banner, our what do you call it?
The national
National anthem. And so now we have this bridge named for that. The person who named the bridge is named after created the Star Spangled Banner. And so I'm wondering, it's kind of like you mentioned, it is kind of symbolic that they've been kneeling all this time. And now we wonder when they're going to start saying anything about that.
Well, they're going to I wouldn't put it past them to think or to say that when we start rebuilding the bridge, to rename it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not. But this is something that, guys, you heard it here first, because I haven't heard anybody else, say anything about it.
That's what they're gonna do.
Francis Scott Key made the Star Spangled Banner. The left will probably try to distort, pervert his legacy any way they can, and they probably will try to rename the bridge.
Right there in
He
that
was.
area,
Exactly. Looking
out, and when he was what inspired him, he started writing as he was watching the battle in that exact area where the bridge
Fort
was.
McHenry, down in Fort McHenry.
Right.
And
Another
that's very, very symbolic, and people need to also kind of understand that, because I think we forgot. Many people forgot God, forgot symbolism, that God is speaking to us.
Yeah. And another thing we want to talk about, we had the clip of President Biden talking about this, terrible, event. And, he's already sent Pete Buttigieg down. He's been here in Baltimore. Pete Buttigieg has been here in Baltimore already, but we did not see the same speed and the same urgency behind what happened in East Palestine, 2 years ago. It took them a long time to even get down to East Palestine. They did. First, Pete Buttigieg went like 3 weeks after the accident occurred, and then Biden went after that. He went down there. And so we do know that the folks in East Palestine, Ohio, they were more on the right. But now, since this is in Baltimore, and Baltimore is kind of Biden's leftist baby, because, the area is nothing but leftist.
Right.
He's already sent Pete Buttigieg. And it's weird that he hasn't been yet, though. They're only like an hour away, not even
an hour.
Right. So he's been making excuses about that. But I find it, to compare the two situations, you're talking about hundreds of people were affected by the train derailment in East Palestine, and they didn't get any attention, any urgency within 3 weeks.
Well, sad times bring people together. And so, the Francis Scott Key Bridge had to go down for us to see Kwesi and Fume. We ain't seen that Negro. When the last time y'all seen Kwesi? We have not seen Kwesi, y'all. That is our congressman.
Right.
We ain't seen him until he's standing behind Biden. Just the photo op of it all.
Yeah, the
and I
senator.
said, now look at God. God had to send a tragic accident so we can get a good look at Mr. Infume.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're gonna find some way to politicize it. You know,
Well, welcome, sir.
After this week, they will go full speed. You know, no offense to the barge, but they're gonna go full speed ahead to politicize this.
Welcome, Kwesi. You are more than welcome to come on our show. It's so great to see you.
Yeah, you're right. But like we mentioned, I pray that we can unite behind the same patriotic sentiment that Francis Scott Key, the name of the bridge, had when he wrote the Star Spangled Banner. I pray that we can. I want to
let it be known that if these leftists try to rename that bridge when they rebuild it, I will be on the front lines to say absolutely not.
I mean, that's going to be war. I mean, when are we going to start fighting?
It was a
back?
war when the Star Spangled Banner was built.
Exactly. Like, when are we going to start fighting back?
Yeah.
And, like, Republicans need to unite. That bridge represents our
history
disconnect as well right now. Well, the way it looks right now.
Right, yeah. Well, I pray they don't, but I mean, I would not be surprised if they do not try to rename this bridge. I would not be surprised. They won't stand for the Star Spangled Banner. They've been, trying to replace it with Lift Every Voice and Sing. So we'll see. We certainly will see.
Get ready for your prices to go up on everything.
Right. Well, I mean, that's another thing. I mean, insurance should cover the rebuild of the bridge. So it's kind of, I didn't understand what Biden was saying, that, they're going to do everything they can, and the money, they're going to send money to rebuild the bridge when it's an insurance claim.
Well, no, the supply. So the supply, they can't use it. So now, so like all the supply, everything that we pay for, like from medicine to everything, cars,
and it's a
fuel.
disaster. They build federal